The Celtics are back. There we go. We've got a wife in the background.
we
Closing the door.
do.
Here we go. Yeah, Celtics are back. Spoonie, Jake, late night. This feels odd. There's no Ben figuring stuff out, but Spoonie, we're here. Pelicans, one of the hottest teams in the West.
Suck it, Pelicans.
Yeah. Look, beating the Pelicans is not for everybody. The Bucks couldn't get it done a couple of days ago, but Celtics come in, and it looks like the Celtics are actually good, despite
That's insane.
Other people might be saying Celtics still good at basketball. Spoonie, how you going?
I'm doing good, Jake. So, you know this, but just to let the listeners know, the wife and kid are out of town.
Let's go.
I'm home alone, a little intoxicated. So if what I'm saying doesn't make any sense, I apologize in advance. But we're rolling, dude. We're happy.
That's right.
What a win. That's just a nice win against a really hot team. And the Pelicans are really, really good. I think they're the 5th seed in the West, in like a loaded Western Conference. Like, dude, at times, especially that third quarter, they kind of made the Pelicans look like a G League team offensively.
I mean, the defense. That's, I think, the story coming out of this one. And not the whole game, obviously. Celtics give up 37 points in the first quarter, and then they proceed to give up 35 in the second half alone.
Insane.
It's just nuts. 11 points in that third quarter. And, I mean, on the season, Celtics are second in defensive rating. I think they're actually tied exactly with Orlando coming into today for second place. And over the last 10, they are 15th in defensive rating. And you contrast what we saw today against what we have seen in the last 2 Hawks games. And it's like, have the Celtics forgotten how to play defense? Or are they doing what we have said we want them to do?
Yeah.
Resting their good players. They have elite defenders everywhere. No Derrick White, no Jrue Holiday in one of the Hawks games. In and out. We haven't had the full lineup. This top 6 we have not had since the Denver game. First time since then. And we see what they're capable of. And, like, we want them to coast. But it is nice, us smooth-brained individuals, to be reminded that they have not forgotten how to play defense. And the team just looks completely different when they're playing defense like they played in that second half, in that third quarter specifically.
Yeah, and it's like, it's such a weird, like, thing we have to go through right now where on one hand we're like, oh, I want them to rest. I want them to be ready for the playoffs. And then you get those Hawks games and it's like, why aren't they playing super hard? Like, what is going on? And, you know, I struggle with it a lot where it's like, I want them to win every single game, but also, like, you want KP to be healthy. You want Tatum to be healthy. You want JB to be healthy.
Oh, my God.
And it turns out, yeah, they haven't forgotten how to play defense. What's up?
I mean, we talk about the health, dude, and like it popped up in the last game. Jaylen Brown dove for a loose ball. Jalen's kind of been like,
and today,
literally hero balling. Yeah, he like dove on a loose ball for the Hawks game, right arm out. I forget who the defender was who jumps on top of him, and it's like, dude, that's a shoulder injury waiting to happen. He slips on that wet spot today, and thank fuck Scal wasn't on the call today, right?
He would have been like, "Oh my God,
like,
it's over." This
called
knee
the
shot
ambulance.
into the crowd.
Dude.
Yeah.
Blood everywhere. But like, you can't tell me that everybody did not collectively shit their pants a little bit. Like, I stopped breathing when Jaylen Brown slips. Eddie House says he's holding his knee. We don't see Jaylen Brown on the screen for the following like 35 seconds, and then he's like, fine. But then he slipped it again, and it's like, who cares about March now that Jaylen Brown is holding his knee in the first quarter of the Pelicans game in March?
Yeah.
Not me, dude. So it's like, it is a really hard mental thing to deal with. Like, it's a mind fuck. It's like, we watched the Celtics play like the softest we've seen them play in that second Hawks game. Like, objectively, Hawks coming off a back-to-back, Celtics are coming off rest. For you to like give up 28-8 second chance points. It's just objectively embarrassing. But you zoom out, and it's like rebounding defense takes focus and effort. And it's like, but and then they come in tonight and man, like the way that they were swarming Zion and like Jaylen Brown's defense on Zion, the physicality that you have to play with in order to play against Zion, and it felt like that they struggled with that across the board in that first quarter. Zion getting downhill, CJ just straight line drive, cooked. I think maybe Derrick off the dribble, dunks down the lane, no
times.
help for anyone. And then the physicality just completely changes in that second half. And I mean, we'll go down the line here, but I mean, I think Jaylen Brown, he was kind of the first guy I think that really physically started to go like level it up in that third quarter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you look at the numbers, 6 of 16 for Jaylen Brown, you're like, oh, this is a bad Jaylen Brown game. But this is one of the ones you had to watch because he was all over Zion. So I got some numbies. I got some synergy numbies for you here, Jake.
Let's do it.
Isolations, including passes, 14 of them for the Pelicans, 0.86 points per possession, which is terrible. Friggin' terrible. And first half, I bet that number's up around 1.5 because Zion was going nuts, and then Jaylen just completely locked him down. For the Celtics, only 7, which is a good number. We don't want isolations, right? 1.71 points per possession on isolations, including passes for the Celtics. So basically, when we had to isolate, we dominated. Big part of the Pelicans offense was trying to isolate generally Zion on Jaylen Brown. Jaylen was all over him, forcing bad passes, like these weird kickouts that wasn't an open shot. They have to flow into something else. He just like disrupted their entire offensive flow at times. And even though offensively it was not his best game, one of his best defensive games in a very long time, which is saying a lot considering how good Jaylen has been defensively this season. And like Zion's just such an incredibly difficult matchup. He's so wide. I mean, he's a fucking refrigerator with legs, dude. Like it looks unreal when he can leap the way he does, but there's not many guys who can match him physically, athletically, but JB's one of those dudes, and I thought he did a really good job. Forced him right so many times in that second half, and Zion's just not comfortable going right. He doesn't take the shots when he has to go right, or he threw up like a couple like wacky ass floaters or like push shots with his right hand that had no chance. So just an incredible Jaylen Brown defensive game. And who gives a shit about his offense if that's what he's doing against Zion Williamson, you know?
Absolutely. And like Jaylen, it's funny. It's kind of a flip on Jaylen Brown's offensive game. Like Jaylen goes 6 for 16 from the field, but 3 for 4 from 3 and 2 for 2 from the line. But like, hey, 17, 7 boards, 6 assists, a steal and a block. And the 2 turnovers, you live with that every day of the week. But like, it's kind of a bummer because he missed multiple. He missed at least 2 that are sticking out in my head. One early in the game, just a left-hand drive, beautiful miss at the rim, and then late there was like back-to-back possessions when everybody's sphincters were tightening, as the lead was like kind of dwindling, but like didn't really dwindle. And Jaylen just missed like a wide-open layup, and if he makes those 2 shots, and all of a sudden he's 8 for 16, 3 for 4 from 3, 2 for 2 from the line, and he also missed all of the fadeaway shots, like all of the shots that he just like hasn't missed all season. Like backing down, he had one wide open one in the middle of the lane where it's like one of the most confident shots the Celtics can take has been that Jaylen Brown shot, and he just missed it. So I actually didn't think the process from Jaylen was too bad. I do think there was a little early. He was like kind of carryover from the Hawks game where it felt like he was trying to win the game like in the first quarter, but he absolutely settled down and got back to doing like what we've loved about Jaylen all season long. And like the fact that he's able to guard Zion like he did today is, I feel like, kind of a big deal. Like
it is no,
dude.
It is a big deal. Full stop. It's a big deal,
dude. I mean, we've joked about the dimensions, which we're a huge fan of, like the bicep veins, the deltoids, all of the above. Like he's that 239 pound plus, which is just like he's always been athletic and strong, but now he's like a mini Zion himself. Like the way that he plays offensively, but also defensively, it just means he's able to guard some of these guys in a way that he wasn't able to before. Like, I think it's a big deal for the Bucks matchup. Like, I think Jaylen can guard Giannis in a way that he probably hasn't been able to in the past. And like, he's so well conditioned. And I saw someone in the chat here before talking about it. Like, I think they kind of wore Zion down. And I think that's like, jumping around here, but you talk about an Embiid series or matchup, like, and that's always been the book on him. But like any series, I think this Celtics team and Jaylen in particular is just so well conditioned, and with this extra size and physicality, it's like, holy shit, dude, this 6'6", 6'7", 240-pound dude just been like banging into me on both ends night after night. It's a lot to deal with.
Dude, and it's impossible. And then you like look for some sort of like safe space, and it's like, oh, the safe space is the 6'8", 220-pound dude who's like a superstar, or the 6'5" guy who's one of the best defensive players of all time, or the 6'4" guy who's also one of the best defensive players of all time, who's the best shot blocking guard maybe since I don't know, Kobe. Yeah, I mean Dennis Johnson. Yeah, exactly. So there's just no, like, Jaylen used to be the guy you could attack with like off-ball stuff, and he's just not anymore. Like, he's so much more connected with the whole defensive scheme. He's so strong, he's so physical, he's so athletic, and he's just using those. Like, what we've always wanted was to Jaylen to just like use his physical feats defensively in the best way possible, and now he finally is, and it's like, we just want to unleash him on their best player. And we saw it kind of started with that Philly series when he was just unleashed on Harden, and since then he's kind of figured it all out, and this is just like the culmination of it all, really, in a lot of ways. And holy shit, that defense in the third quarter, dude, it was completely locked down. I mean, that was incredible. 11 points in an NBA game in a quarter is crazy.
Yeah, especially if like, Zion, lately he's been unbelievable. He's been like 61% from the field. Like, he's been 8 free throws a game. He's been impossible to kind of contain. And like, he got to the line a bunch, but he has 7 for 14, which is ironically the exact amount of free throws Jaylen took and made in the Nuggets game. But you look at I'm just pulling up the Pelicans' last 15 games here. Net rating, they're third in the NBA.
Yeah.
Offensive, like,
they've been crushing since the All-Star break. Crushing.
Really, really, really hard to deal with. Like, the Bucks, the wire to wire, just like got kind of decimated by the Pelicans just like 2 days ago. And Jaylen, like, the off-ball stuff, we're obviously seeing a lot less of. But also, I wonder how, like, and credit to Joe and Jaylen, but like, playing guys to their strengths. Like, Jaylen Brown, I call him the ADHD defender. Just let him hyper-focus, give him his one task, don't give him too many things. Yeah. And lock him in on
That's your guy. Don't leave him.
Don't worry about anything else. Just rebound and guard. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Dame, whatever. He can just take that guy, and it just completely plays into his strengths. And I love that, like, it's just become a thing now. It's like, Jaylen's going to guard their best player. I'm interested to see what happens in the not the Hornets game. I mean, I'm assuming he'll be on Brandon Miller, or hopefully he's resting, whatever. But like, we play the Thunder next week, and so do we see Jaylen on SGA? And so I think that'll be interesting. All right, I think we've given Jaylen Brown his love. Great to see him. Like, I mean, okay, we'll keep going, but Jaylen Brown, if I was to tell you, like, before the season started that he goes 6 for 16 in a game, it's like, it's probably not a good Jaylen game. But the fact that he's doing everything else now, it just changes who he is as a player.
Exactly. Yeah, he becomes like, I don't want to say he's like a hyper role player, but I kind of like, in this type of game, that's really what he was. Like, he's your third option in this game specifically. He's not the Celtics' third option. He's the second option. But just the way this game kind of played out, he's doing such a better job of just kind of fitting into the offense. Like, he was just kind of taking what was given to him on the offensive end and just like Herb Jonesing Herb Jones on the defensive end. So absolutely loved it. He was great. I mean, he did have the second most field goal attempts, but
Very split,
that's
though. Like still 16 though. It's not like too many.
right. And KP had 6 free throws to Jaylen's 2, so KP had probably more shooting possessions there. But we should probably talk about KP. I thought he kind of had a weird game in a lot of ways, like super aggressive, but like finally like a good defensive KP game. I felt like the Hawks kind of got at him a little bit. Joe made some comments like, we're just putting KP in positions where he's not comfortable, which I love. This is the time to do that. Get him comfortable in those type of positions. But tonight, dude, he was fucking everywhere defending the rim.
Yeah, and they nailed it. I mean, it's going to be hard in the playoffs, and we can parlay this into talking about Horford, but like when they put KP off the ball and they had Jaylen on Zion, but specifically when they had Horford on Zion and KP's coming over the top, dude, like very a la Rob Williams 2022 run. Like, that was really cool. And again, I'm so torn. It's like, yes, that was sick to see, but it's like, we don't want to show anyone that at the same time. And that's not, I guess it's not necessarily a rocket science adjustment, but like, you put Al Horford or Jaylen on Giannis and you have KP helping off, Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis in a Bucks series. And then you rotate out to shooters after that. And that's going to be like, that's how you're going to defend those teams, similar to the Sixers and Embiid. So you love to see, it was a weird KP game because like because he got to the line 6 times, go 6 for 6, like you still have 19 points on 14 shots. I just want KP being aggressive, and I'm like fine with it. Like he's been missing some of the shots kind of in the post and stuff, but really like he goes 1 for 6 from 3, and 4 of those attempts were in the first quarter, and they're all wide open. All I really need for KP is to be 33% from 3. Like obviously I want him to be like 38, 39 in the playoffs, but if he's going to go 33, 34% from 3 in the playoffs, I just need him making just enough so that when you get to the fourth quarter like did tonight, Derrick White and him running those actions, KP, you find him at the top. The defense just is rotating. Like they're guarding him like he's a shooter. That's all that matters. Because as long as people are guarding him like that, he's making good decisions out of that spot. Like I just like him being aggressive. In the playoffs, you need guys that are going to be aggressive and going to get you buckets out of the mud. And like that's what he's going to be able to do. He grinds himself to the free throw line. Really encouraging actually to see him get to the line 6 times because he hasn't been able to get to the line as much since the rules have kind of changed. But like 6 for 14, he makes one more shot and he's 7 for 14. Like we're right there. And then defensively, I mean, obviously he had the issues with the rebounding in the Hawks games. Comes out, has 10 boards, and you already talked about the defense. Like, I mean, I'm happy with how he played tonight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it was so I rewatched while I was listening to the Garden Report the 5 minutes to like 2 minutes possessions we had on offense. It was Derrick, KP handoff game on the left side 3 or 4 straight times, and it was there was three times out of 4, and we had a Tatum ISO out wide where he got to the rim and scored. So it's like Tatum, KP, or rather Derrick, KP, handoff game. Derrick gets fouled. KP gets fouled. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, it was just like too easy, completely money. The game was getting tight. And that's what they went to. And there was just there's nothing you can do when the Jays are spacing out wide, because if they swing it to the Jays, like it's just drive and kick or attack the closeout, take the open 3. There's just nothing you can really do against those actions. So if you just empty that side for KP and Derrick White, it's over, man. And I feel like that's what we're going to see in the playoffs a lot.
I know. It's, again, torn. It's like we all know and have been calling. It's like KP, Derrick. That's the numbers, the eye test. It all points towards that being the thing we should be doing in crunch time. And like I haven't seen them spam an action like that really, it feels like, at all this season.
Yeah.
And for them to just like go at it. And is that partly because CJ McCollum was a guy on Derrick White? But that is the thing. Thinking about the Heat series last year, it's like we should have been going it with Derrick White because he had Max Strus on him over and over and over again. He's going to have one of the weakest defenders on him a lot of the time. And KP, you find KP in the post, help comes, you swing it back to Derrick, defense rotating, you swing it to Tatum. It's just so easy and so obvious. And it's like, that's incredible. But also, I want to know that they know that's what they should be doing. So I like
Right.
seeing it, but I also don't want them to do it because then people are seeing it. But like, I have a feeling they fucking know, dude. Like, if I know anything about Joe this year, is that he knows what works. He's into the numbers. He's just smart. He like does smart things all the time. He's been a really good coach this year. So I have to believe that they know. And then you see it like tonight. It's like, well, no shit, dude. It's fucking unstoppable.
Yeah, well, I feel like he said that. He's like, when it comes down to it, we know our bread
Yes,
and
he
butter
has
is
said
the
that.
Derrick White KP pick and roll. And it's like, all right, Joe, but we're not really running that.
Don't you say that, Joe.
Joe, chill, brother.
Chill,
Chill.
Yeah.
I also really like, so I'm writing about this for Celtics blog.
Excellent.
I really like, we ran horns actions, which is like two guys at either side. It's Tatum, KP at either side of the free throw line, and then two spacers, Jrue and Jaylen in the corners. And you could just run so many actions out of that. Like you can cross screen, you can post one of those guys up, you can set down screens, and get, guys coming off like sort of flex actions. There's just a million things you can do out of horns. And when Derrick White has the ball at the top of the key with all of those options, I just trust him so much to make the right play. So that's what we're going to see. And I really do think Joe is going like full Belichick and just like not showing shit. Like he is like completely just like, let's just see some goofy shit. Like Jaden Springer played for 4 minutes in the fourth quarter against the Atlanta Hawks in a tight game. You know what I mean? Like he's just in his bag right now, just trying to see some goofy stuff and what's going to happen, which is what I wanted. And then we lose. And I'm like, damn it, Joe, what are you thinking, bro? It comes back to that. But we just have so many options. Like even if you show your hand a little bit, it's just not really any way to defend it. Like it's, Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's at some point. You know what I mean? Like at some point it's like KP's going to get a mismatch and he's going to make the mid-range jumper. Or he's not, you know what I'm saying?
I have no idea what Jimmy's and Joe's is. I was thinking of Joe Mazzulla and Jimmy Butler. But I understand that it rhymes.
It's
with
not
X's
X's and O's. It's Jimmy's and Joe's. It's like sometimes the talent just wins out is what I mean.
I got it. I love it. I love it. Jimmy's and Joe's. That's I do like. We saw it a little bit, and KP in the short roll a little bit too. Like, that's right, DJ Daniel. People are loving it in the chat. Yeah, Spoonie's just living his like. I'm assuming there's some things uploaded. I don't know if SoundCloud existed when Spoonie was at college, but
It was in its infancy.
There's probably some Spoonie rap uploads on there somewhere.
The techno beat, but yeah, burn the fat, build the muscle. Check it out.
and that's exactly what we want right there. But yeah, KP and I'm torn again. So going back to the March thing, I wanted to talk a little bit about this. We'll get back to individual performances here, but I went back to looking at the last 4 or whatever champions. Because the Celtics clearly have taken their foot off the gas and they've just been resting the whole lineup, right? And we see them actually take tonight seriously, and we're like, okay, they can still play basketball. So looking at the last kind of few champions, 22-23, Nuggets win the title. They go 9-10 in their last 19 games of the season, below 500. The 21-22 Warriors, 10-11 in their last 21, and they beat the Celtics. The 18-19 Raptors, 9-8 in March. And this is the one that blew my mind the most. The 17-18 Warriors, that's the KD Warriors, they were 7-8 in their last 15 and then proceeded to basically not lose a game in the playoffs. So it is important, very important to remember these games do not matter. Again, the smooth brain here, I want to see the Celtics play good defense against the Thunder. My dad, we were going back and forth. It's like, I don't want them to make bad habits before the end of the season. I'm like, they are who they are at this point. I don't think that anything they do between now and then is changing who they are in the playoffs. And I think more likely than not, they play pretty hard in that Thunder game. Oh, first of all, bingo, cat alert. Here we go.
You got Cookie in the building.
Yeah. But it's like, I would prefer them to go back to resting guys on and off now. It'll be interesting to see how they approach. I guarantee there'll be one or two guys resting in the Hornets game. But then maybe they use the Thunder game as like, okay, we bring the full lineup for the Thunder game. But what's the point at the same time?
Right. Yeah, there is no point. And actually, so I got some synergy numbers for you, right? Like, I don't even think they were playing that hard tonight compared to like, yeah, right, exactly. So, the Pelicans had 18 transition possessions, 1.22 points per possession. It was actually kind of bad for transition. The Celtics had 13 transition possessions, 0.54 points per possession, which is like me and you out there could probably generate a 0.54 on breakouts and transition jakes. They're clearly not in sixth gear. You know what I mean? Like they're just like very clearly in fourth gear, fifth gear. That third quarter defensively, they were completely like tuned up 100%. The turbo was hit, sixth gear, boom, let's go, let's win this game. But like this team just has a level that we're not really seeing right now because they absolutely don't have to show it. And like, why would they? I don't know, man. It's just like even the OKC game, like who gives a shit about OKC? Like we care because we know they're a great team, but they're not going to make the finals, right? Yeah. Like maybe they do, but like, probably then not.
Why show them anything?
Exactly. Yeah. Like why play anybody? That's like even more reason not to play anybody against them, so they don't see your hand. So I don't know. It's just going to be a weird. It's going to be a weird like month. A weird 3 more weeks.
It's just there's 8 games to go. It's just like how do you fall on like the rhythm thing? And like those numbers, like all those teams I just told you that won the title, like didn't have quote unquote rhythm going into the playoffs, and like they won the title. So I just don't think that it's a real thing. Like the Celtics have come out in both of these seasons to start the year after not playing for the entire offseason and been incredible to start the year. So it's like there's always going to be a rest thing, I think, maybe. But what's great about this team, going back to the defense, it's like that's something that you can kind of control. And I think can be this team's calling card night in, night out. All right, moving back to kind of the players here. Derrick White. Interesting game from our boy. Pretty excellent, but 15 3 boards, 3 assists, 0 turnovers, 1 foul, 5 for 9, 3 for 7 from 3. And obviously, I mean, most importantly, right, he ran the crunch time stuff. But maybe, I don't know, more importantly, but to end the half, our boy D. White channeling his inner Peyton Pritchard here. And I got a clip from the Celtics blog.
Hit it. Let's go.
Is that turnover? Is that turnover?
Get Pritchard in. 3 seconds.
No, it's just a shot attempt. I don't think it's a turnover.
No. Derrick, 2.
Nobody's even on him.
1.
Yeah!
Oh! Come on!
Hell yeah!
I gotta be honest with you. When
the best, dude.
I know.
And so
he had to make up for making the shot from the out of bounds play against Atlanta.
He just has the touch, dude. He has the Midas touch. He's the guy. Like the game 6 Miami tip in, like he just is the guy that has the touch. One of those dudes that you're scared. If you're the opposing team, it's like Derrick White could do anything. You just never know. You like the touch and the feel on this guy. You never, and don't get me started on the touch and the feel of
Derrick White's touch and feel, his great butt, his great butt screens.
It's across the board, the dimensions, it does not matter. This guy has it all. But I mean, just a clean game. Like it's literally a perfect game from D. White. Like defensively excellent, making the right play. He's the guy. He is Mr. Everything.
Dude, somehow New Orleans cut it to I think 11 in 2 minutes or so. And then Tatum drives, gets multiple defenders on him, kicks it out. Derrick White it was like a 28-foot three that Derrick White had to catch and shoot on. And like the second it left his hand, I was like, oh, that's fucking cash. Game over. And of course, it was cash. Game over. His dad's like dancing on graves on Twitter and stuff like that. And like, you just know he's so goddamn clutch. It blows my mind. I looked up, this was like a month or two ago, but fourth quarter and overtime, game within 10. Derrick White shooting 50% from 3, which is pretty good. You know, that's pretty solid.
Insane.
And he doesn't turn it over, and he makes huge plays on the defensive end too. So he's just perfect. I mean, he's just so incredibly good on both ends. But I actually think the best player in this game was Al Horford. Because defensively, Al was incredible, dude. Like, incredible.
Everybody, hey. You back off, Classic Dave. Derrick White's my guy. He's my mistress.
Always.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say on Derrick White, like, so he goes 1 for 2 from 3 in the fourth quarter. And, like, the other one was they ran the KP, Derrick White.
Rattled out.
Yeah, and then, like, he gets, KP gets CJ, switch. Trey Murphy helps. Wide open Derrick White catch and shoot. And it just goes in and out. It's just like, you love the process. But yeah, dude. Al Horford, I mean, he just looks so fucking good, dude. Like, it's
insane.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
He's keeping up with Zion.
Like, he completely shut down the Pelicans in the third quarter. Like, it was, how many minutes did he play tonight? He played 30 minutes tonight. And Horford coming off a couple of days rest is ridiculous, dude. Like, he just looks so fresh, so excited. He's become like a bench energy guy. It's crazy, dude. He comes
He's
in.
like posting people up and shit.
Yeah, they did a really good job of finding him in the post on mismatches. He goes 4 for 7, only 1 for 3 from 3. Gets his 6 boards, plus 8 on the night. But dude, watching him defend Zion and help, and like he can switch on to anyone. Like I don't have enough words to describe how much I appreciate him. The fact that he's still doing this at this point, like he took the I'm old and washed contract that started this year. He's making $9.5 million, and it might be like one of the best value contracts of like a non-undrafted, non-rookie guy in the NBA. Like, it's 100%. Unbelievable.
100%. And like, it just doesn't make sense that you can have like a bench big that can hit threes and be a switchable defender. Like those guys do not exist in the NBA. It's like, oh, our bench big comes out. It's like Naz Reid, great offensive player, cannot switch defensively like Al Horford can. And then Al Horford's also an incredible rim protector too. You know what I mean? It's like he's basically playing at a level where, his stats don't seem like it, but he's a $20+ million player. Straight up, period. Don't care. Like that dude he's irreplaceable in a lot of ways. And, I don't know what we're going to do to replace him, but we're going to ride Al until he fucking retires. It might be 45 years old. Like, we might get like 7 more Al Horford seasons.
It's absurd, especially now that we have, like, we're just managing his load so effectively.
Yeah,
like, It's really, he's better than last year. Like, in this role, like, it's crazy, like, because he kind of slipped defensively last year, but in the minutes that he is playing, he's better defensively than he was last year. And then he shot 44% from 3 in the regular season last year, which is insane. But he's still shooting 40% from 3 this year. And like, I think he's shooting better from 2 overall this year. I'm gonna pull it up quickly here. But like, he's just been so consistent. And I think of all the guys to rest down the stretch, right? He's the guy that you want to just like completely rejuvenate and have absolutely fresh.
Tell me about it, Jake. Tell me about it, baby. I've been saying we shouldn't play him since January started.
So I have it here, actually. So Al Horford is shooting 64% on 2s this year, which is like pretty good. He was 53.9% last year, 58% the year before that. He hasn't shot 64% on 2s ever in his career. I did not realize that until this moment. That is insane. I mean, obviously the volume is clearly different, right? So like the next best year was actually his year as a Celtic at age. This is crazy, dude. Like Al Horford's age 32 season, his second season with Boston, he was 60% from 2 that year. 53.5, 36% on threes, and 60%
And like
on
5
twos.
assists.
Yeah, 4.2 assists. Like
Yeah,
it's actually
that's
crazy,
an
dude. Like
insane season.
he's playing 29 minutes a game that year, and he was taking 3.0 threes per game. He's playing 27 minutes per game. He's taking 3.9 threes per game. So 3-point volume off the. He's up to 42% from 3 on the season this year. What's going on with this guy? 50,
Jake,
42. Oh my! He's a 50, 40, 90 guy. He's 89.3% from the free throw line. What's happening?
Minimum 30 possessions for post-ups on synergy, points per possession. Number 4 in efficiency, Al fucking Horford.
What is going on, dude?
He's ageless. It doesn't
Fine
matter.
wine.
He's literally my age, and I'm gray as shit.
That's crazy, dude. Like he's
Yeah.
just objective. I hadn't even looked at those numbers properly yet, and I'm like, he's just objectively been better this year than
Yeah.
last year, and like part of that is clearly the load. But it's like, okay, well, he's gonna play the same like load the next year. He's just gonna gradually decline. Just man, give me some of these steroids, dude. I don't know what it is. I need some of them. Dude.
The
I'm
OKC fucking
Oh.
back to chamber, bro, man. They threw him in.
I'm falling apart out here. I need to get some of this Al Horford juice into me.
We are. Oh, hey, real quick. We have commissioned an Al Horford juice T-shirt. Ben
coming.
did. So it's coming, and we're all gonna have some, and we're all gonna be coming later with the Al Horford juice T-shirts. I don't know. What'd you think about? I thought Tillman had a nice game. I'm sorry, I'm drunk. I'm just firing.
It was beautiful. I loved it. Tillman did have a pretty nice game.
Nice
I thought
defensive game. Nice defensive game.
His best game in a while. I think he kind of has struggled a little bit lately, but defensively really solid. I feel like I don't know if we've really spoken about this thing, but like I'm like more passionate about this than anything else about the Celtics right now, and that Tillman shouldn't be shooting threes, and that we should
I'm
be
with
using,
you, dude.
and we should.
You
be
don't
using
like him hitting the backboard,
Dude.
Corner threes are like smashing the side rim.
What are we doing? Like, there's
Shut up, my guy Raffy. Raffy's one of my good friends. What's up, Giraffe?
There we go. And so like, he can't shoot threes, he can't shoot free throws, but like,
Yeah.
he's good around the rim statistically.
Yep.
75%
Yep.
coming in, 50+% on the floater range shots, and they went to he had an awesome move in the post pump fake and got a clean look at it, and he just fucking bricked it. But like he's so much more effective in that spot. Like is down there. He grabbed an offensive rebound today and kicked it out for a Jrue Holiday 3. It's like he
Yep.
can't do that stuck in the corner and just like no one's. I get that people want him to be a shooter because like we're just Missoula ball brain peeled at this point. It's just like
That's so
everybody has to
true.
shoot threes, otherwise the spacing is gonna be fucked. It's like it's not how it works. Like
we can't play offense
Yeah,
if
yeah.
everyone can't shoot threes.
it's not how it works. Like the spacing is gonna be either the same or worse because no one's guarding him out on the 3-point line. Whereas at least if he's playing inside, he's really good at finding little gaps in the lane, in the dunker spot where he can shoot floaters or someone crashes and then he just passes out of that. So much more effective than him shooting threes is him using his size and physicality. Like that's what he is. He's a dog. Like let him battle against Anthony Davis in the playoffs and get rebounds and get shots out to the 3-point line. Like that's where Tillman should be.
Yeah, and I know you're Australian, so you know like less than nothing about hockey, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you know a little. I mean, your dad's from Massachusetts. You probably
Yeah.
know a little bit about hockey. So
I bet on
there's-
the Las Vegas Knights today. So there you go.
okay, yeah, all right, nice. So, your third line is like your defensive line,
Yeah.
right? And you roll them out against the other team's top line, which is like their best offensive players, and it's like the third line grinders. Like they hit, they fight, they get in the dirty areas, like the hip check. You know, they just like fuck you up, and it makes
Yes.
life hell for the other team's best offensive players. And that's what Tillman is. Like, get him down there, dude. Yeah, exactly. Like, Anthony Davis will probably get the defensive rebound over Tillman, but over the series, like a 7-game series, like, you just got to wear their asses out. And that's what Tillman can do, man. Like, he'll just fucking wicked piss a kid. Bobby Orr, huh? Fucking wicked good, hey. I fucking love Bobby Orr. But we just got to grind these dudes out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Tillman can do here. You know, he can get in there. He can fucking hit Anthony Davis. You know, he gets some good. So, but that's what you want. Like, you don't want him spotting out to the corner. You know, you want Tillman in there, and also he's a great passer, which he had on that offensive rebound kick out to Jrue. He had that weird ass left-handed floater that he made somehow. So yeah, get Tillman in the spots that it makes sense for him on the offensive end, and let his defense blossom, because I really think he's done a really good job, like switching and and dropping. Like, he's done everything great defensively. Just the offense, the way he's been utilized offensively, has not made a lot of sense.
Yep, I love it. And like, if we want to have him shooting threes in the future, off season, next year,
Fine.
fine.
Next year, whatever. We got him locked up for 315. Go ahead.
Exactly, easy. My whole thing with the because I agree with people that are like, I think maybe he could shoot threes. I'm not sure I actually do agree with that, but I understand wanting to see if he can. But I'm like, this is not the time. This is the time to be experimenting with everybody else. Like, Tillman hasn't figured out who he is on this offense yet.
Right, exactly.
If he's like figured, it's like, oh my God, he's popping, he looks like Luke Cornett out there on offense, where he's like got all this synergy with the rest of the team, then yeah, start experimenting. He doesn't have that at all. Like, can we develop chemistry with Tillman and the rest of the guys, and then start pretending like he can shoot threes? Like, then that's fine.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of Luke. Like, you might as well have Luke start shooting threes these last 3 weeks, right? Like, see if he can like get hot, if he can go on like an Aaron Baines style run. Like, you've been all over that. Like, we need our Aaron Baines 3-point shooting session. Like, maybe because Luke understands what he needs to do on both sides of the ball, especially offensively. Like, yeah, fuck it, dude, launch some threes against Oklahoma City.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like, why not? But Tillman makes no sense for him to be spotting to the corner.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Ben, I know if you're listening to this, you're going to have to come to this side. Yeah, come to this side now. All right, so, I mean, there's a couple guys we haven't spoken about at all yet. Well, maybe we haven't spoken about Tatum at all, which is interesting. But, like, he quietly went, 23, 9 boards, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, and you felt them, especially in the first half. And he didn't get to the line at all. But still, 23 points, 17 shots, 10 for 17, 3 for 6 from 3. Like, I thought he had a really good defensive game. It was just a nice, solid game from Tatum. Like, I don't think great game, bad game, but like, that's I thought a solid game from.
Yeah, and ultimately with Tatum, as we kind of go down to this stretch run with the refs calling things differently, I just want him to get used to what's a foul now and what's not. And I think that's how they're going to call it in the playoffs. He just needs to be physical. He needs to be strong. He did it. I think there's like 3 minutes left. He got kicked. ISO. I think it was against the big dude. No, not Herb. The other guy. The guy who shoots threes. Yeah, it was against Trey Murphy. He just backed Trey Murphy right down.
Yeah.
Got down to the post. Finished all over him. Maybe it was a foul. Maybe it wasn't. Didn't matter. He finished it. That's how he's got to keep playing. But I don't want him to do that like 10 possessions a game. You know what I mean? Because we want him to be, loose for the playoffs. So just that was like the perfect March Tatum game. Like, end of the season Tatum game. Like, he did what he needed to do. He moved the ball when he had to, and a great defensive performance.
Yep, and I just watched that play now. Like, the NBA.com starts the possession with 16 on the clock, and I hate when they do that. But I know that Tatum ends up with the ball in the corner, and it's like, and that's what, if they're going to ISO Jaylen and Jason, that's where I want them ISOing from the post. It's like, when they are dribble and attacking from the top of the key, and you got help coming from both sides, like that's when the turnovers and stuff start to pop up. But like he did it early in the game as well. But this specific possession, he has Trey Murphy faces up, and it's just quick attack and straight to the rim. Yeah, it probably was a foul, but he did it early in the game as well. Post up, baseline closest to us, and it's the spin to the baseline. And it's just like one dribble, and Aaron Gordon's really good at this. He like puts the shoulder in to get the space and then goes up with it. Give me that from Tatum all day long. Like that's the move. That's how you use him in the post. It's like you spin away from the help and use the strength to go through whoever that defender is who's kind of trailing you. Like there's just so few guys that can handle his bump in that spot, and then it just makes it for an easy finish there. And we've talked about it a million times. Like you can play make from that spot. The baseline can't create a live turnover. It can technically create a turnover if we step out. But like those live ball turnovers, which we had, that's the playoff nightmare fuel is live ball turnovers from Tatum and Jaylen. And so you like to see that. Honestly, you just like to see Tatum like be happy with, I mean, not be happy, but like, just stand over there and let Derrick and Tatum do it.
Yeah.
And then and then he plays out of that. Like just the willingness to do it. I don't know. I'm not someone who thinks he's willing or not willing to do that, but just the fact that they went to it and it was successful with him playing out of a bent defense. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I don't get the impression that Tatum feels like I need to have the ball when there's 4 minutes left and it's a 6-point game. But it's just kind of natural NBA stuff. Like when you're Derrick White, right? And you're just like, oh, nothing's doing here, and there's 15 seconds on the shot clock. I should probably just give it to one of the best players in the NBA, right? I just feel like the other guys on the team feel that way in some way too. But this team is not built. This team reminds me of the 2019 Raptors in a lot of way, with like Kawhi, Siakam, Lowry, Fred VanVleet. Like it's just so loaded. And if you look back at Kawhi's numbers, they weren't insane. He wasn't going for 40 a night or anything like that. He was just like being that guy when he had to. He was picking his spots, playing elite defense, and letting the offense come to him. And that's how I think this team is going to be successful. And I think Tatum's willing to do that. And I think tonight kind of showed it in a lot of ways where it's just, empty side, handoff game with KP and Derrick White. It kept working. So why is Tatum going to be like, give me the ball. This is working, but stop. Like, he's just not that type of personality. So, but if they're like, it's you, Tatum, he's also going to like accept that responsibility and do it. So, that is the team I keep going back to. It's like elite defensively and sort of a egalitarian offensive squad too.
Yeah, I was just having a look now. Like Kawhi averaged 23.7 points in that regular season, but what's crazy is he averaged 30 in the playoffs. But
he did, damn, dude.
No, but so that was a funny run where it's like a lot of the role players for that Raptors team actually struggled in the first 2+ rounds. And Kawhi did all the heavy lifting. And then, like, Fred VanVleet had a kid, went nuts, and then Kyle Lowry went crazy. Like, I'm looking at the finals box scores here. Like, game 1, Kawhi goes 5 for 14, 8 for 20, 9 for 17, 11 for 22, 9 for 22, 9 for 24, sorry, and 7 for 16. So, like, of all those 6 games.
That's trash.
He had, like, 2 games shooting above 50% from the field. The rest were, like, 35%, 37%, like not that good. But like, so I think that's true. And like, that's been true of this season as well. Is that like, there's been stretches where Derrick, KP, and those guys have just been balling. And then there's been some stretches kind of from January on where it's like, oh, Tatum's the best player in this team. And like some guys have gone,
the pull-ups
gone
in.
through, and they've gone through some colder stretches. And like, that's what's great about this team. I think on any given night, he can be the best game. I'm not sure if Tatum can quite reach the level that Kawhi reached for that entire playoff run, but like I'm not sure they need him to necessarily get all the way there, but I think he can do it in spurts. And I think this team might actually even be better than that Raptors team, like from a talent after Tatum perspective, like from what we know about Siakam at this point and Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry. It's like you got, I think, more talent, deeper, but I think the two-way ceiling and like that Raptors defense was insane. And what you saw from the team in the third quarter tonight, like I think they haven't really cranked it up yet, and I think that's what we want.
Yeah, it just to me like your best player's this like 3-4 wing.
Yeah.
Your I don't even know. I mean, Jaylen's the second best player. They don't have that Raptors team had no one comparable to Jaylen Brown. Actually, Siakam's like the 4 version of Jaylen being the 2. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah.
But KP's better. Like they had Marcus Sol. Like KP's better than Marcus Sol. Lowry's probably.
Kyle Lowry's very Derrick Whitey though. At that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. Like they're the same guy. And then Jrue's better than Fred VanVleet ever was. So it's but I just to me and like how that team played, is how this team has to play to win a championship. And that team got an easy-ass run in the finals because I think Klay Thompson and Durant both got hurt for those finals. So we're not going to get that. We just got to try and hope Tillman can lock up Jokic or Horford can lock up Jokic.
Hey, look.
Not even lock up Jokic, just slow him down a little bit.
The Nuggets are confounded. I think Jamal Murray's out right now, but like they got smoked by the Wolves yesterday. And like we've already seen them do the March malaise thing, but I think I'm not sure the Wolves will beat them, but I think we really need to hope for a Wolves-Nuggets series at some point. I think they can at least push them to like 6 or 7.
For sure, with Rudy.
Yeah. And they've like low-key been kind of, I'm not sure about better, but they've been as good without Towns. So that's been...
Because Naz Reid is a hooper, dude. That guy's a baller, man.
But you know what I didn't realize about Naz Reid? Like they did Naz Reid's night at the Minnesota thing where everybody got a free Naz Reid towel and the whole crowd's just like chanting. I didn't realize that he was there, Derrick White. I did not realize that that's a thing. Like I knew that he's awesome. I didn't realize that he's like as popular as Ant. But that was just an aside.
No, they fucking love Naz Reid apparently. I had no idea. I occasionally check in on T-Wolves games because often when the Celtics end, because they start at like 8:30 when we start at 7:30, so I'll like catch their fourth quarters. Those people love Naz Reid, and I get it. Like he's like a 7 foot. He's got a handle, dude.
It's
it
awesome.
Makes no sense. It's incredible.
He's got better handles than Jaylen and Jason, if we're being honest. Like,
No, come on, not better than JT. Not better than them.
I'm just kidding.
JP, I'll give you maybe,
Sure.
but real quick,
go on.
Jake, I have like this is completely off kilter what I said in the
I got one
playback.
kilter thing and then we'll go. But you
go
off and
hit me with the kilter. Hit me with the kilter.
I'll go one
then we'll
more
go
on
there.
kilter and then we'll go off kilter. But Jrue Holiday,
right.
we haven't talked about kind of since he's come back from injury. And the most important thing, the only thing that I was really worried about was like, can he still shoot really well? And he's been like 50% from 3 in the 2 games he's come back from. And like tonight, he goes 5 for 10, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block. 3 really bad turnovers. But he's just kind of a beast. And I think like he's going to be like really tough for guys to deal with consistently in the playoffs.
Dude, he was awesome tonight. I think defensively too. He had an incredible block.
Oh, that was sick, yeah.
It's just such a like benefit to have a guy who's like, oh, he's our 5th option. He shoots 60% from the corner. Also, he can run a pick and roll. Oh, you're guarding him with your point guard? Like, oh, he's just going to post your point guard up too. There's just nothing teams can do when your worst defender is guarding Jrue Holiday, who was literally the Bucks' like 2nd option against us in the playoffs 2 years ago. Obviously, because Middleton was hurt, but like they took us to 7 with Jrue Holiday as the 2nd option. He's not quite that guy anymore, but that's why it's such a perfect spot for him in Boston, because he doesn't have to be that guy anymore. And goddamn, he was good tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, he really was.
I definitely have underrated him, like in my brain, like because he'll get the ball and do like create his own shot, like mid-range step back. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah. I forgot that like he's kind of
Marcus
like
Smart pilled.
Yeah. Because in my head he's just Marcus Smart that fucking shoot better. But like as far as like actual shot creation goes, like it's kind of a different ball like world. I still think Marcus is a better like pure passer and playmaker because in like some of the like Drew's turnovers.
He's definitely a better passer, 100%.
I think that's
Marcus's.
fair. But as far as like scoring the basketball, obviously there's a shooting aspect, but like, he's got the post game like Marcus as well, but like he really bullies guys, but then he can get into his bag late in the shot clock and like cross some guys up and hit some step back mid range shot. Like even like tonight when the Pels were kind of rolling, he just had one possession where he's like calmly got to the mid range and splashed one. I was like, fuck, that's nice to have. Like, and I think in the playoffs it's like, fuck, dude, you've got, I don't care, Darius Garland on you, like you've got Jalen Brunson on you. Let's just get it to Jrue Holiday and let him create his own shot, dude. It's just like a ridiculous luxury to have.
Yeah, and we love Derrick White. He's just gonna have a better defender on him,
Yeah.
right? Like, and like fucking Jrue Holiday is the dude that Darius Garland has to guard because that's the like fifth option on the team. It just doesn't make any sense. This team is loaded.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Off kilter me.
All right. I'm kiltering you. We're off kiltered here. Okay, so we've got obviously the refs have been told to call the game differently, right? They're allowing a lot more physicality. And I think the reasoning is like we want it to get back to like 90s-ish basketball. Like we want that physical basketball, right? We want like, oh, Bill Laimbeer and like, oh, remember when Jordan had to like stiff arm dudes to get to the rim? If you're doing that, if the refs are allowing more physicality to go around the rim, aren't you just pushing teams to shoot threes more? Because it's like now we're going to be less efficient at the rim because you're not going to get a foul call. So now we're just going to shoot more threes because the rim attacks are going to be less efficient. So we might as well just shoot more. And it's like the opposite effect of what I think they want to do with allowing more physicality.
I like this. Well, because like obviously, your percentage at the rim is going to go down. It's going to lead to more turnovers as well. And so like when you start looking at like points per possession on drives, it's going to fucking
Crater.
hit the crater because you're going to be adding points off turnovers back the other way. Yeah, and like I think that's a great theory. But I'm not sure that they, from what I understand, Joe Dumas said they're not necessarily wanting there to be less threes. They just want the competitive balance to be more even. And so like I'm not sure they necessarily mind either way. I think it's going to be like, are the Celtics or our teams going to realize that maybe you're better off shooting more threes statistically, or because you're just not going to be as effective at the rim? It is weird. Like, are the rules going to get even more physical as we get to the playoffs, or is it like we're kind of at playoff physicality already? I don't. It's going to be interesting because how much more physical can it get, dude? Because like, and also on that, just call it fucking consistently. Like the Derrick White foul call on DeJounte Murray, where he like touches him with his hand, who falls down, which leads to the Bogdanovich 3-pointer, is just disgusting. Like it just can't happen.
Jake, the like 2 possessions before that, Murray swiped KP's arms on a layup, and they didn't call. Like it was the most obvious foul of all time, and they didn't call it. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is the object? Because, like, even in the playoffs, that should be a foul. And what happened with D-Boy, it seems like what they're doing is, like, you can get murdered at the rim, and no call is going to happen. But if you get slightly tapped outside of the 3-point line, you're going to get that call. So it's like you're... Can the C's shoot more threes as they come off the bus, RJ? Yes, and they probably will if they keep calling the game like this, because you're getting touch fouls outside the 3-point line, and then when you go to the rim, you're getting murdered and there's no calls. So I just think it's having the opposite effect of what they think is like they want, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yep, I think that's fair. And hey, Joe Mazzulla's like, damn it. I have to shoot more threes, you son of a gun.
No.
What was interesting tonight, though, they only shot 37 threes tonight. So
and against Atlanta, I think they only shot 34, 35. Yeah.
Because Zach Lowe's been obsessed about the Celtics rim attempts, and they've definitely been taking more shots at the rim kind of in the past 6 to 8 weeks. I don't know, man. I think this team's just kind of really looking at what they have been doing, should be doing, could be doing, and they're they're doing. Like they're really locked in on how they can be getting better, what they should be doing, and I believe in their process going into the playoffs. But unless you have anything else, we didn't hit on like Pritchard and Hauser, but I think that's okay. They were
played
fine.
good.
Yeah, Pritchard like a couple of monster offensive rebounds. I guess
Like one-handing that shit.
dude. Like he can go 1 for 3 in 17 minutes and be good still, which is crazy to me. So
And Hauser too, like
yeah.
same thing. Like he was fine. They were both great.
Exactly. Like you obviously want them to hit a couple more shots. Like if you can, they were combined 2 for 6, but like that's such a small number of shots. Like if more of those shots falls, then we're having a little bit of a different conversation. But yeah, kind of saw a little bit of the playoff rotation potentially tonight. I think with some of those minutes going down. No Cornet was interesting, but I think that may have been a Zion type matchup thing, or it was just we're gonna try no Cornet tonight. It's I think as simple as that.
JV didn't play a lot either. I feel like
true.
if JV had played more, we'd probably see Cornet. But yeah, Valanciunas only had
he's a problem for
15
them.
minutes. Yeah,
he's just not good.
Big time.
He's not good enough.
Yeah, and Larry Nance isn't good enough.
Yeah,
like he's solid, but he's not good enough to
yeah.
play 30 minutes at center.
Yeah, and the Pelicans loaded up because they're trying to win these games, dude. Herb Jones 40 minutes, Zion 40 minutes, Trey Murphy 39.
Herb Jones was 4 or 5 from 3 and ended 4 or 9.
yeah. Man, he's awesome. They've got a lot of guys that are just good. Obviously no Ingram, but like I feel like I'm not sure that he's really changing them that much because he doesn't take threes and he's not a great defender. So I'm like, are you better off just having Trey Murphy out there? I don't know.
I think you are.
I don't know.
Maybe you just like replace the CJ minutes with Ingram.
Yeah.
But then like
probably,
CJ's so dynamic off the like on the ball.
And he takes a lot more threes and like nails them too. So yeah, interesting spot for them. But Spoonie, I think that's it. It's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed the dude from Massachusetts tonight. It's been beautiful. We'll be back for a late night after the Hornets game, myself and Ben. Until next time, go Celtics.